21st, ladies and gentlemen. From the garage, the court of public opinion is in session. Peter Clayton is behind the camera. Welcome to the program. And it's either on Facebook that you're looking at us and listening to us, or it's on a podcast. And you can pick us up on various platforms. I think we're on Spotify, we're on Apple. Anyway, it's still a brave new world for me, but probably not for you. But if you enjoy podcasts, you probably know exactly where to go on your phone or your computer, and I hope you'll have us as one of your favorites. I was talking to you yesterday about the voice thing. I don't want to bore you with it, but I do believe it's a very important issue, and this little program of ours should be devoted to things that are important. And we'll show you another one of those commercials, or I don't know what you'd call it. People send me all sorts of things, and I'm grateful for everything you send. But this is another piece of information about the voice. It does amaze me, I must say, that these people are so blatant, so open in their aspiration to talk about joining the great communism of the past, using the force of communism to tear down the establishment. No hiding it. There's no subterfuge. It's right out there. They're quite frank. And people are recording and passing on, I'm sure, not only to me, but lots of people. I've got another one for you today. You may have seen them already, I don't know. But while we're on the subject, we've talked before about nuclear waste, the nuclear waste repository at Kimba, here in South Australia. A democratic decision was made by the locals, who had every right to express an opinion. 70% said that it would be a good idea. They approved. Now, obviously, there was money involved. Good for the community, one way or another, and of course, quite safe. The Aboriginal decided to take the whole thing to court, where the government was asked to withdraw its support for this repository. The Aboriginal people say that it is too dangerous, and it's on some sort of sacred site, which I'm quite sure they could have said a long time ago. Anyway, they didn't want it on their land. That's what they said. Don't want it. Don't want it. And they won. They won. This is the same stuff, by the way, that is stored in basements and stairwells in North Terrace here in the city of Adelaide. Medical and low-level nuclear waste. And what would we do without nuclear medicine? I don't see any outcry about it being too dangerous to have in the middle of the city. But it's too dangerous to have in the middle of the outback of South Australia. The Aboriginals have the right to be heard, but they certainly don't have the right or common sense of this argument on their side. I thought these people, having watched that television show on Channel 10, I thought these people were the first scientists in the world. Really? Their position sounds to be quite ignorant and stupid, hardly scientific or intelligent. Anyway, most importantly, this is a democracy. And in my book, if 70% of the people say it's okay, it's okay. Time and time again, when people are talking about the Aboriginal plight, you know, the usual focus is on trying to do something to help with neonatal problems, early childhood health, housing, a ridiculously high level of incarceration. I think it's something like 37% of all people in prison are Aboriginal. A shorter life expectancy, lack of education, domestic violence. Now, I was thinking, Aboriginals have control of their destiny. We all do. They are free Australians who have choices, as we all do. They have many advantages and privileges not provided to white Australia. Presumably they have every opportunity to succeed. Why they don't, or why they don't want to, I've got no idea. But they are free to choose. We all are. And I wouldn't have it any other way, would you? Many of the problems that I've just mentioned to you facing Aboriginal people, many of those problems are caused by lifestyle choices. The babies are in trouble because of fetal alcohol syndrome. The children are in trouble because they sniff petrol. There's little or no respect for the law. The elders who could, of course, be of great influence are largely ignored. They could insist that the children go to school. But no. Housing that is provided is destroyed. Privileges abused. White man's law is not respected. And then again, Aboriginal law and justice, which used to be very strict and sometimes very swift, is also not respected. Or dare I say, even practiced. Honestly, the only way we could make a difference to Aboriginal life is to take charge. Take away those life choices. Decide for them what is best for them. What is the best thing for them? Now this is a typically paternalistic white man's solution. And I wouldn't have a bar of it. Wouldn't have it for a minute. We, all of us, make bad choices. And we're entitled to. Aboriginal people should be allowed to do what they want. But they, like we, have to take responsibility for the outcomes, which in most cases, not all, but in most cases are not good for Aboriginal people. But who are we to tell them that, or tell them how to live their lives? We all make our bed and we lie in it. All the voices in the world will not make any difference to these problems. Voices will not solve these problems. Because, as I told you the other day and saw on the Insiders, Linda Burney had her list of things that she was going to get the Voice to work on, when in actual fact, of course, it's supposedly the other way around. They know what these problems are. If the government is told again, doesn't matter by how many voices, it's not going to make the government any more able to do anything about these problems, because, quite frankly, they would have done something, if they could have, a long time ago. And I'm frightened, of course, that Aboriginals, in fact, won't be heard. If the Voice gets up, it's going to be the activists, those people with an agenda, the Thomas Mayos of this world. They are the ones who'll be heard. And quite clearly, this Labor government has a sympathetic ear for Mr. Mayo. And if you know anything about communism, it will be the even distribution of misery, not opportunity. A communist agenda is what I think they want. That's my opinion. They want to charge us rent. They want us to pay reparations, an Aboriginal levy every time we buy something, as I showed you yesterday on that receipt from Canada. These people are aware of that Canadian model. They'll be onto that in a flash. I believe that the government knows all of this, or if it doesn't know, they're either stupid or they could guess. They could certainly guess. anyone who could quite happily impose this voice rubbish on the people of Australia should not be holding high office, now or in the future. They should be disqualified. It's an irresponsible thing, divisive and racist. It's kind of like a government-sanctioned vandalism. Government-sanctioned vandalism on 97% of the Australian population. I predict that the political fallout for Anthony Albanese will be enormous. But why he has pinned his colours to that mast, I have no idea. Very strange. Most Australians would be quite happy to have recognition of Aboriginal people being in Australia as the first Australians. I mean, anthropologically, of course, they're not the first Australians. There were others before. But recognition is fine. But the voice is something that's totally different. Have a little look at the birthdays. Yes, July 21. End of the week, Pete. Yep. What are you doing on the weekend?
Working on the Jeep.
Oh, he's working on it. We'll have to take... Why don't you take a picture and show everyone the Jeep?
I can do that.
Yeah. It's the most beautiful World War II... I don't know. If you've seen MASH, you'd have seen a lot of these. The Willys people and Ford made millions of these World War II Jeeps. I think their life... What was their life? They used to make them for a life expectancy of 3 days or something, didn't they?
30 days.
30 days. And some of them are running around all these years later, happily. Yeah, it's a beautiful drab green, olive green Jeep. I don't blame you. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful vehicle, Pete. July 21. 1919, Anthony Fokker establishes his new aircraft company, the Dutch Aircraft Factory, which was in Amsterdam. And the Fokker aircraft was a very formidable flying machine in its day. I suppose there are a few of them still whizzing around the place even now. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which was the final book in the series, published worldwide. 11 million copies sell in 24 hours. That's hot. 2007. 1951, Robin Williams, American actor, comedian, Mork and Mindy, Dead Poets Society, that was good, he was good in that. Good Will Hunting, born in Chicago, Illinois, dies in 2014, but born this day in 51. One for you, Pete. The first cricket test match played at Lord's. The very first one. 1884. On this day, July 21, to prove his contention that air power was superior to sea power, US Colonel William Mitchell demonstrates how bombs from planes can sink a captured German battleship. That was in 1921. I wonder if the Mitchell bomber is named after him. Probably it is. Cat Stevens, the British songwriter and singer, Peace Train, Moon Shadow, born in London. Cat Stevens, 1948. Happy birthday, Cat. Or what's he call himself these days? Yusuf something. Yeah. Central Park in New York. If you've walked through Central Park in New York, what a beautiful place. Central Park in New York. Created when New York State Legislature puts aside 750 acres of land on Manhattan Island. 1853, and they started planting. Wow. Did a good job. Basil Rathbone, South African-born British actor, Sherlock Holmes, has a heart attack at 75 and dies on this day in 1967. Don Knotts, he was funny. I like Don Knotts. American actor, The Andy Griffith Show, Three's Company, born in Morgantown, West Virginia. He died in 2006, but born this day in 1924. in Market Square, Springfield, Missouri. Wild Bill Hickok shoots and kills Davis Tutt in what is widely regarded as the first true Western showdown. That, ladies and gentlemen, was in 1865. Wild Bill. Oh yes, this is an important one. 1969, Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong becomes the first person to step on the surface of the moon at 2:56:15 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. What a moment. And Alan Shepard, American astronaut, and the first American in space, dies of leukemia on the same day. Not exactly the same day, it was 1 year before the moon landing, 1998. No, 1998, that was after, wasn't it? Dies of leukemia at 74. You know, I had my eyes fixed, and sometimes they are better. Some days they're better than others. But the printing's very small. Ernest Hemingway, American actor, Old Man of the Sea, Nobel Prize winner, Nobel laureate. 1954, he won the Nobel Prize, born in Oak Park, Illinois. He died in 1961, but he was born on this day in 1899. Some of the things for which we remember the day. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I will be back Monday. Believe in yourself, and we'll have some more news about the new radio station, which is taking shape. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.